Hey, what's going on? It's Thomas, and in this video I want to share with you a method which I use to scale my Facebook ad campaigns. So this particular campaign that we're going to be looking at is promoting a weight loss product off of Clickbank. And as you can see on my screen here, we've got two campaigns. The oldest one was launched on the 8th of August. It is now today, the 11th of August. So it's been running 3 or 4 days. So this is how things work, okay? So first things first, I take my first campaign, ad set budget, ABO, CBO's campaign budget. So I'm launching ad set budget first, and I pick around 10 different audiences, okay? Individual audiences, which are going to be 10 individual ad sets. And these range, as you can see here, from different lookalike percentages, different types of lookalike, checkouts, purchases, views, whatever, different interests, PS, SS, broad, DF interest. You know, you can see there's a range of different things in here. So I have, let's say, SS, PS, broad, 10 of these different interests or ad sets, right? And you can see I've got these set to auto. So I set them at automatic placements, 10 individual ad sets, all set to automatic placements. Then I've duped each one of those 10 ad sets and set the new duplications as Wi-Fi. Okay, so I have 10 ad sets on auto placements and then 10 of the exact same ad sets, but instead of auto placements, I set them to Wi-Fi. Now, obviously, Clickbank, the majority of products have a VSL and usually range anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half long. So when someone's on the mobile device, which, 95% of the Facebook traffic are, ideally, usually they're going to be connected to Wi-Fi. Realistically, you want someone to be on Wi-Fi because that means they're more likely to be, what's the word? Stable? Stable? I don't know if that's a word. Basically in one place, right? They're not going to be moving around. They're not on public transport. They're not, walking to work. They're not in the gym, whatever. If they're connected to Wi-Fi, there's more chance of them being able to actually sit down, chill out, watch a 45-minute video, all right? So that's what we're looking for with that Wi-Fi. Now, that doesn't mean that non-Wi-Fi won't convert. It does, and in fact, very well. But Wi-Fi usually converts better. So I like to test both. So I have 10 auto, 10 Wi-Fi, exact same audiences, all right? So, I've got, let's see if we can see any here. Oh, well, there's SS interest. So I had Wi-Fi and I had auto, okay? Both exact same interest, both exact same gender, same age. Only difference, same ads, only difference is one's Wi-Fi, one's automatic placements, all right? So I launched them. So I've got 20 ad sets in total. And then I let them run for at least 48 hours. So they at least spend $100. And then I'm analyzing the data. So I'm going through, and you can see here, we've got these SS here. Now these both got a sale. So I was like, okay, we're leaving it. I'm going to let it run a little bit longer. And obviously they spent $150. Usually what I'm looking for, and again, this differs all the time, but the front end price of the front end cost of the product ranges, all right? There's different ranges, and it can be anywhere from $70 or $65, $70 up to $150, sometimes even more. So I'm usually looking to spend $100 per ad set before I decide whether I cut this or not, all right? So because these got two got sales, I let them run a little bit more. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, you can see I've left some on. So this checkout, 3% of checkouts, exact same. However, when I look at my tracker, so again, I'm always looking at the tracker cross-referencing, I see that this sale is actually worth over $300. So we've actually, 100% ROI on this ad set because the average order value of this purchase was quite high. Whereas these two, I think one was $44 and the other was $117. So again, I could let them run because I could, it's showing that they get sales. They only need potentially one more sale to be in profit. However, I don't want to be burning too much budget. I want to try and optimize and try and get into the profit, right? And yesterday was the first day in profit on these campaigns, which was the 10th of August. So 2 days, 8th and 9th, are pretty much negative. And then yesterday was profit by, I think, $1,200 in profit yesterday on this campaign. And then obviously today we'll see how we go. So I'm looking anyway. So I'm trimming the fat basically. I'm letting them run two days. Again, if they have 0 sales, they get cut. If they have 1 sale, depending on the ROI, you know, if it's a good ROI, I'll keep it. If it's negative ROI, you know, if it's a $44 value, I'll cut it, right? So if we go down, again, we've got another one that I cut here. 1 purchase, cost $114 to get that purchase. Then we've got, again, one down here. We've got another one that didn't make any. And then, you know, I can go down and we've got a bunch that I've turned off. Now, some of these that some of them didn't quite spend $100, but I could see, I was looking at the checkouts, okay? So none of these that spent $100, no checkout. So I was like, okay, there's no point in keeping these. They're not even getting a checkout. So someone's not even initiating checkout. Potentially it's a bad pool of the audience that I'm targeting in this ad set. So these have all been turned off. And then what I'm doing is, I think by day 2, I'd had some ad sets have at least 3 purchases. So if I find an ad set that is getting at least 3 purchases, I'm just going to pull this out a little bit so you can see the names of these ad sets. If I find a particular audience is getting, you know, has at least 3 purchases at a decent cost, then what I do is I duplicate. So for instance, this lookalike 1 purchase. Let's find the seed audience, or the seed ad set is here. Okay, so this is the seed ad set. And you can see 3 purchases, $50 each. So I duplicated this, and you can see down here, dupe 3, dupe 1, dupe 2. So I duped this 3 times. So now we have 4 of this exact same ad set in this campaign. And you can see they've all got decent cost per purchase, right? They've all got 2 purchases, these new dupes, which is good, right? This is my KPI for this particular campaign, as in my CPA, what I want to pay per purchase is around $75. So anything under $75, I'm good with. So you can see we've hit these. Now the reason why I've duplicated these is because this is spending $50 a day. So for me, and now I've got 100, 200, 300, 350 a day. So now I'm spending 350 a day on this particular audience, right? Whereas if I didn't duplicate this and I bumped this particular this ad set, this original seed ad set, from 50 to 350, it's going to go to shit. I was going to swear it. It's going to go to pot, right? It's not going to, you know, what's the word? Chances are it is really going to go to pot. You know, from that bigger jump from 50 to $350 a day in a wanna is going to go to pot. Now you can, if you wanted to, creep up in increments. So you can creep up, you know, 15, 20% every day. But again, from $50, how long is that going to take me to get to $350? Probably, you know, a good week, right? It's got a good 5, 6, 7 days plus to get from 50 a day to 350. In fact, way more than that. I don't really want to wait that long to get this creeped up. And what I see is sometimes when I am creeping them up, there's more chance of them going wrong. Whereas if I dupe them, there's a higher chance of them going right. So I've duplicated these, all right? And they're all off to a decent start. Okay, so that's good. And I think this was yesterday when these launched, and they will be, because they've only spent over $100 and they've got a $100 a day budget. And you can see I've done the same with a few others. Just trying to think. I can see a 10% purchase, which is a dupe. And you can see some of them, you know, they flop. I turn them off. Some of these dupes don't make it. Now I could, and I should potentially cut these dupes off a little bit sooner, because I know the audience is all right. I know it, you know, we're getting sales at $60 or whatever. So potentially maybe I spend 70. If we don't have a purchase, I'll cut it off. All right. But for these ones, I haven't. I've let them spend, you know, $100 again before I've made that decision. So that's what I'm doing, right? I'm duplicating them and seeing what's going on, and then cutting the ones that flop and keeping the ones that are winning. And then when I've done that and I'm getting decent, you know, the audiences are getting decent amount of purchases, good ROI, I take the four or five of the best audiences, all right? So 4 or 5 of the best ad sets, and I dig into the data a little bit. I find out what placements, or if any, are working well. So if we switch this, I go to the breakdown. So I've got this campaign, and I want to go to delivery, and I go to placement, and I say, okay, let's see if anything is, you know, particularly standing out on placements. So I go down and I'm looking through and I'm saying, okay, we're spending quite a lot on desktop, so maybe I want to just target mobile. There's our mobile app. Again, not a million miles away from our CPA, slightly out, but not a million miles away. Mobile web app, $5 on in-stream video, but it's only one purchase. That's not enough for me to say, okay, that's a good place to go. Marketplace, too expensive. $80 for Instagram, which is, you know, good. I'm looking at that thinking, okay, that's decent. And then also stories. So I'm looking, I've got 7 purchases for $31 each. That's like over half my CPA. And if we scroll across, now this isn't entirely accurate. If I change my stats, I don't always get the ROAS on these stats. They're not always right. I'm just going to see how they look. Okay, so here's our stories again, right? And I think this is probably going to be closer to 3, so 300 ROI. But 2.5, that's still a really good ROAS, right? That means for every dollar that I spend, I'm getting $2.56 back. All right, so it's a good sign. And then obviously I see where I'm losing money. And again, like I said, this isn't, you know, 100%. I don't always get the value passed back for some reason through Facebook. And then also if I've got other products in rotation in my tracker, some of them don't pass the value back at all. So this isn't 100% accurate. However, it is a good indicator. All right. So I'm looking at placement, and then I can also drill down and see if there's anything with gender, if I'm targeting men and women. In this particular case, I'm only targeting women. And then also, you know, states, countries, impression devices, you know, iOS, all that stuff. I can do that in my tracker as well. And that's where I usually do it. I find the tracker more accurate. But obviously I can't find the placements in the tracker. We're not looking at, you know, my tracker can't tell me that we're doing this on stories and this on the news feed and this on, it can on desktop, but not like particular placements, like we've got right column, all that good stuff. So I'm digging in and I'm seeing where we are, what we're doing, how things are looking. And so then what I do is I take, in this particular case, the 4 ad sets that are the top. And this is just launched, so this hasn't got anything yet. You know, this is only just launched. I set this to go live at 3 a.m. this morning Pacific time, so it's pretty much going live right now as we speak. But what we see here is, if I find the seed audiences, auto, so 5, 10, broad, and 1, and PS. So sorry, my 5 top ad sets. Okay. So you can see here, I've got my 5 different ad sets. So I've got PS interest, 1% purchases, so I look like, broad, 10%, and then 5%. And so I've duped them. I've got 5 ad sets, but I've actually got 15 in here. I duped the auto placements and I run on Wi-Fi. I know Wi-Fi converts really well. And then I dupe them again, and you can see I've now placed on stories. And I've targeted Facebook stories and Instagram stories. I know Facebook stories convert from other campaigns, and I also know when I broke down the data, we didn't have too much data on the Facebook stories placement to be able to say, oh, we can't run that, or we can. So I thought that'd be a good place to test this. So this is how I scale, right? So I've gone from basically running my ad set budgets, finding audiences that are winning, okay, that are getting purchases at a good cost, duplicating them to test that audience, make sure it is still going to get good cost, which is why I duplicate them 3 times. And they're still winning, okay, they're still winning. So now I take my 4 seed audiences that are winning, or 4, it doesn't, you know, it depends on your budget, but it doesn't have to be 4, it could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 10, you know, whatever. And then I duplicate them a couple of times and find different placements or different segments to run on, which means I can hit different pockets of the audience and see what goes on, right? So we launched this and let's see what goes on. You know, it's literally just launching. You can see it's just picking up impressions now. $4.82 spent, no clicks because it's a little bit delayed, but we should start to see them come through. And again, we'll just see how we go. So that is how I like to scale. It's one of the strategies that I use that works really well. Now, this is again, you know, quite a new ad account. Sorry, it isn't a brand new ad account. It has had other things on it in the past, but it's new for the weight loss stuff that I'm running right now. So again, we're going to see what goes on in this particular campaign, gather more data. We don't have a ton of data here, so I'm going to gather more data. I'm going to prove different placements. Again, if I find a placement that's looking good, I might bring that into the CBO campaign. I might start a new CBO campaign if I have new audiences taking off. I might scale this, I might surf it. So surfing it, meaning if by 8 AM Pacific time, which is the time of this ad account, if it's looking good, I've got at least 8 or 10 purchases in this campaign within CPA or KPI, I'll double the budget. So maybe I bump it to $2,000 a day. And then at 12 PM, 4 hours later, if I'm still under KPI, we're still making sales, maybe I double it again to $4,000. And again at 4 PM. And then I'll wind it back down at midnight, I'll reset it to $1,000. And that's a good way of riding the algorithm waves. It's a method from Tim Bird out of AdLeaks, which is a really solid method. Another thing that I like to do here, again, I need more data in this ad account, but this worked really, really well in 2 of my ad accounts which got shut down. Still fighting to get them back, but after maybe spending $50,000 to $60,000, I had a lot of data, obviously. I was able to see exactly what times and specific days were converting best. So then I could do day parting. So I set a lifetime budget, and I would, set the times when the campaign goes active. And in the particular ad accounts I did this in, it was always between 4 AM Pacific and 11 AM Pacific. So there was like a 7-hour window that worked really, really well. And obviously, if you have a $2,000 a day budget, that $2,000 gets spent in that 7-hour window. Now with Facebook, for some stupid reason, you can only do it on lifetime budget. You can only schedule your ads or day part on a lifetime budget, which is a bit annoying really, but it is what it is. It still works really well. The only thing is you have to keep on pushing your lifetime budget, back and increase it and push the dates back again and again, which is quite annoying, but it's the only thing you can do. So that is the method that I use for quite a new ad account in gathering data and starting to scale. And then hopefully this will take off, and in a few days, maybe a week, I can come back in and show you again how I'm still scaling and some of the methods around that. So hopefully you've got some value from the video. Let me know in the comments below. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am really intending to drop some other videos when I get the time. I'm going to try and make it at least, twice a week. Try and get some videos in. So if you have particular topics that you want me to look at, if they have anything to do with Facebook ads, native ads, Clickbank, affiliate marketing, let me know in the comments, send me a message, and I will do my best to touch on that subject. Again, subscribe to the channel. I do have some content coming out in the next few weeks or so, so I'll be definitely making sure I drop some videos around that on YouTube. So again, thank you very much, and speak soon.